Another teenager stabbed to death in the streets of London. Do you want to know how to put an end to knife crime? Then stay tuned and watch this video.
He was an aspiring rapper who loved playing football. 14-year-old Kelyan Bokassa. You can see next to his mum in this picture on the screen. His life, though, was dramatically cut short when he was stabbed to death on a London bus. This happened yesterday afternoon in Woolwich. That's in the southeast of the capital. Julian Drucker is at the scene for us tonight. Good evening to you, Julian. It's a really shocking incident, isn't it? Another shocking incident in London.
Why do we have a knife culture in the UK? This is the question that no one seems to know the answer to. Well, I'm going to answer it for you today, and I don't care if it hurts people's feelings. First of all, let me just point out that knife crime has nothing to do with poverty or a lack of youth centers. All right? But before I answer this question, though, let me ask you guys one question. Are you shocked? Is this shocking to you? Because I'm not shocked. I speak for most Londoners when I say to most people, it's just another day in London. In the West, actually. Because this is not just a regular thing in London. This is happening everywhere in the West.
Many UK cities have severe problems with knife crime at the moment. We've obviously featured many of these stories. London has a particular problem. The youngest victim in London last year was also 14 years old. Today, one of the UK's leading anti-knife knife crime charities told 5 News this incident really underlines the profound problem that the country is having at the moment with this sort of crime.
This is shocking. This should not be happening in this city. It should not be happening in this country, but it's happening far too often.
To be honest, I think by now most people are desensitized to it. I know I am. And who can blame us? This is the culture that Western values produces and champions. I mean, come on. Have you heard the type of music that this young man was making before he was unfortunately killed? And isn't this music popular amongst young adults in society today? Aren't most kids in schools listening to this type of music? Here's what I don't get about Western societies. We seem to think that listening to violent and promiscuous music isn't going to influence people to be violent and be promiscuous just because it comes under entertainment. I find this logic so stupid and ridiculous. Anyone who believes in this logic has lost their minds. Nudity and violence on the screens does influence people, especially the youth, who are more impressionable. Come on, guys, let's be honest here. It's a fact that Western culture values and promotes violence, hedonism, and materialism. Just admit it. It's a fact. So how can we act surprised or shocked when these young men join gangs and murder each other? Okay, let me answer the question directly now. So why do we have a knife culture in the UK? We have a knife culture in the UK for 3 reasons. Fatherless homes, no moral education, and a self-destructive culture. That's why. First, fatherless homes. Too many children are being raised without fathers, and the single mother epidemic just keeps rising. That's just a fact. And we shouldn't be shocked by it because Western culture tells women and men to be promiscuous. And that's how people end up having babies out of wedlock. And the uncomfortable truth is that women cannot raise a child properly by themselves. Look at the statistics, guys. Children who grow up in single mother homes are more likely to have behavioral problems, more likely to be violent, more likely to be depressed, more likely to end up in jail. 90% of prison inmates come from single mother homes. I'm sorry to say this, but women are just not equipped psychologically or physically to raise a child without a man. Only a man, only a masculine nature and a patriarchal mindset is able to tame a boy or a girl. Raising a child is a difficult and stressful job, and without a father to maintain order and discipline, most women are going to break down. And that's what's happening. Women are already emotional beings by nature, so it's no wonder then why they don't do well under stressful situations. And raising a child is very demanding and can be very stressful. What unfortunately tends to happen in single mother households is, not all, but most, since women are more emotional and they find it more difficult to deal with the pressures that comes with raising a child alone, they resort to abuse. Unfortunately, they do. They resort to abuse, neglect, and violence towards the child. Also, most kids don't fear their mothers past the age of 12. Come on. By the age of 15, the mother might as well give her children to the streets because there's no way she's going to be able to control them. Second, no moral education. Most children in the West nowadays are raised with an academic education, not a moral education. Let me repeat that one more time for you. Please pay attention. Most children in the West nowadays are raised with an academic education and not, I repeat, not a moral education. Meaning they are not raised to know the difference between right and wrong and the importance of knowing right and wrong. They are raised to learn English, math, science, etc. And as of late, LGBT, Why? Because parents today have abandoned their traditional religion, aka Christianity, and instead are following society's ideology, or as I like to call them, religions. And do you know what the name of these religions are? By the way, all these ideologies / religions come under one religion, and it's called liberalism. So under liberalism, we have atheism, wokeism, secular humanism, feminism. In other words, to put it bluntly, Satanism. Are most parents conscious of the fact that they are following these ideologies? The answer is no. I mean, you tell me, with all the destruction around, do you think they are? This is why you don't listen to what people say, you watch what people do. And when we watch what people do, what do we see? We see people being okay with women killing babies in the womb, abortion. We see people being okay with having babies out of wedlock because the government will give them accommodation and financial support. We see women selling their body for money because men are consumed with lust and will pay for it. We see people caring more about materialism because of the status and attention that they enjoy from it. We see people being okay with insane things like gender-affirming surgery for children and children taking puberty blockers. Even if they are not fully okay with it, it doesn't bother them enough to speak out against it. They are indifferent. The rule in Western society is this: do what I will. As long as you're happy, you can pretty much do what you want. Trust me, one day they're going to legalize pedophilia.
According to current research, pedophilia is an unchangeable sexual orientation, just like, for example, heterosexuality.
When a child is raised in this greedy, selfish, hedonistic environment, how can we expect them to become good moral beings? Now let's look at this young boy that got stabbed and killed. Where was the father to protect him from the local gangs that were preying on him? Why couldn't the mother protect him? The mother was clearly aware that the young boy was being groomed.
Do you believe he was groomed by a gang? Do you know the name of that gang?
No. I've tried. I don't know if they are gangs. I just think she really wants the streets.
Look at what this boy was rapping about. It was all centered around violence. Third, culture. Look at our culture. Look at what we celebrate in our culture. We celebrate violence, nudity, promiscuity. We celebrate consumerism. Our culture is the definition of toxic and self-destructive. Culture is informed by values. So if your values are based on greed, selfishness, lust, and wrath, then your culture will be selfish, greedy, lustful, and violent. And your laws will reflect that. It's really that simple. If you are confused about what is meant by Western values, then look no further than our laws. The laws of a country is based on the values that that country upholds. Here are some laws that reflect Western values. It's legal to create, produce, and sell music, movies, shows that promote violence and promiscuity. It's legal to raise a child without a father. It's legal for the government to reward promiscuous women with housing and money if they have a baby out of wedlock. It's legal to murder babies in the womb in the West. In some parts of the West, it's even legal to kill them up to 9 months. It's legal for men and women to wear next to nothing in public. It's legal to be promiscuous. It's legal to sell your body for money. OnlyFans, you know. It's legal to access porn. It's legal for a man or woman to change their sex. Gender affirming surgery. It's legal for a man to call himself a woman and vice versa. It's legal for a man who identifies as a woman to use a woman's toilet. Euthanasia is now legal. No-fault divorce is legal. Contraception is legal. What kind of culture do you think these laws will produce? When you look at everything I have just outlined, are you really surprised that our culture is producing young men like Kelyan Bokassa? Well, you shouldn't be, because Western culture creates fatherless homes and immoral, damaged young men and women. So what's the solution? Don't have sex outside of marriage so that your child doesn't grow up without a father. But in order to not have sex outside of marriage, though, you have to be against this hookup culture. Give your children a moral education. Turn to Christ. Go back to Christianity. Why? Because only Christ's teachings goes against Western feminist woke culture. And the more people do this, the more you will notice the culture changing. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time, all right? Peace.